This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by GameV.com,
GoDaddy.com,
and Netflix.
So disappointed in Dan.
$20 says he's sitting in his car debating about whether he should go out.
He'll keep calling me. He'll keep calling me until I come. He'll make me feel guilty. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go. Shit. God damn it! You got it? That's it.
Three rad dudes with nothing better to do get abducted by the crew of the Starship Alpha 2. They're from the planet Q, which, due to a space-time loop, is stuck in 82 and must be rescued. They need our heroes to discuss the latest news and give their reviews of games and movies too. Sure hope you're not confused. We swear this is all true, not just the premise to the Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 57. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Totally Rad Show's weekly dose of all things rad. We head on down to SeaWorld, buy a little bit of fish out of a vending machine, and try to feed some rad dolphins of knowledge. That's
Dolphins of knowledge.
That's what we do. It is. It's like Echo the Dolphin of Knowledge.
Hey, cool background this week.
Oh, where's it from?
It's our buddy Avenwell, our go-to guy, because we're doing PSP
dude.
Blowout.
Dude, we're doing a big
That's
PSP
PSP
blowout.
game. That's PSP game.
That is, that you're going to be talking about. Pikachu. Or
Patapon.
All right. We did want to mention that my buddy and our buddy Kevin Rose initiated me last week, or last Wednesday, into the horrible realm of Twitter.
And like a virus, it has spread.
It's like, like the Venom suit just kind of jumped from person to person.
Like our
I talk.
background.
It's kind of like our background. So if you want to follow our daily ins and outs or not, you can head over to twitter.com/Alex Albrecht.
Oh, is that what it is?
Jeff Canada.
And Danny TRS.
Danny TRS.
And Steve TRS.
And Steve TRS.
So Twitter, in case you don't know what it is, because I really didn't know until 5 seconds ago.
I didn't know until...
And I'm going to Twitter about this later, is like online, this is what everyone says, but it never resonated with me, online quick microblogging, right?
Right.
Microblogging. But basically what that means is it's like, basically like, instead of saying micro-blogging, it's like grand-scale text messaging.
Yes, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, but you don't have to get it through text. You can get it through...
There's a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
Twitter.com. You got us onto Twinkle.
Yeah, on our iPhones.
Which is the cool thing for the hacked iPhone. But we should not talk about it too much because we have a lot to cover in the show. Let's Twitter on over to the movie section.
This week in movies, we're talking about The Forbidden Kingdom. It is the new one from Jet Li and Jackie Chan, and is the first teaming of the
amazingness,
huge Asian superstars Jet Li and Jackie Chan.
Much like when Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage united to create the superpowers, or the Twin Towers, or something like that.
Whatever.
Yes.
Some sort of NWO juggernaut.
It is with fight choreography by Yuen Woo-ping, who sort of brought the wuxia style wire fu to America with Crouching Tiger, and before that, The Matrix. But yes. So directed by Rob Minkoff, who did the Stuart Little movies, and written by John Fusco, who did the Young Guns movies and Hidalgo and that horse animated movie.
Oh, Spirit of the Wind or Wind?
Yeah, Stallion of the Cimarron or whatever.
Yeah.
Spirit Stallion. So basically,
Spirit Stallion of the...
yeah. So basically, a youth-oriented period adventure guy.
Right.
Writer. So on the one hand, we have this amazing martial arts team, and on the other hand, we have this family film adventure team. What I want to ask you guys is, do you think it succeeds as either of those genres, or which one, or whatever?
Okay.
But before I ask you that,
Good
let me
question.
start, because I have a very specific...
What's the movie about?
Okay, yes. What's it about? Steve asks. I should
eloquently.
explain. It is about a young Boston kid who
Bronx.
Boston.
South Boston.
South Boston.
Oh,
yes.
I misheard.
I
didn't
I didn't see the movie. It was midnight.
I thought I read Bronx. He's a young kid who goes to Chinatown and loves the kung fu movies and gets beat up by hooligans and then gets sucked into feudal China.
Like a fantasy
magic-y.
world. Yeah.
Magic-y.
Well, there's immortals and...
So the thing about it is, I grew up very similar to this kid. I had a Bruce Lee poster in my wall that I bowed to every night. My mom used to read to me. Before I could read books, my mom would read to me Bruce Lee's autobiography. I used to, in middle school and high school, I would take the subway down to Chinatown.
Oh, wow, really like this guy.
And next to
the Danny T story.
where I studied Kung Fu, next to where I trained, there was a porn store, an adult video store that I would go into.
I missed that part of this movie.
And that I would go into
didn't see
and
that?
buy. They also bootlegged Hong Kong action films. Old Shaw Brothers movies, like Chinese Super Ninjas, and movies like Bride with White Hair, that he so finds, which is shot by the cinematographer of this movie.
Wow.
And I would buy, he had a gun on his hip, and later found like a pharmacy where I also learned Chinese. On my own, because I thought I would go to China to learn filmmaking there and bring it to the States. This was pre-Matrix and Robert Rodriguez and all that stuff. So I asked my Chinese teacher to teach me the Chinese of the movie titles, because the people at the pharmacy didn't speak any English. Okay,
Wow.
That was how deep this goes. Okay, so 10 years ago, this movie would have blown my mind.
Okay.
10 years later, not so much. And I think everything that I love about Jackie Chan, the Buster Keatonisms, the way he fights, the charm, none of that was in this movie. Everything I love about Jet Li, which is basically, to me, Jet Li is only as good as his choreography, and that I found lacking in this movie. I think the worst part of this movie was the kid's hair, which was clearly blow-dried and odd, and it was just a really weird choice.
Well,
the best thing about this movie was the fact that they said Gong Fu instead of Kung Fu, because that's actually how it's pronounced, and they never say that in movies, even when it's like the real ancient Chinese guys speaking the word.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been some discussion in the forums recently about movies that you go see just for fun and you kind of let yourself go.
Kung Fu versus Gong Fu?
This movie hit my fun threshold, whatever, perfectly. Square, my fun target. I had a grin on my face from start to finish. I freaking loved this movie. I recognize that it has lots of faults. I recognize that the acting is all over the place and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't really make any sense, and it's sort of Karate Kid meets Big Trouble in Little China.
There's a never-ending story, or
Yeah. But man, every time Jackie Chan is on screen, he's so charming. You cannot deny how just wonderful a performance he is. I was laughing. I literally had a grin on the entire. The martial arts stuff is fun. It just showcased for that when Jackie Chan and Jet Li first meet in that first scene. It's like that scene in Heat that I love. For me, it felt like that. And I completely understand if a lot of people find the movie silly and kind of beneath them and just for kids, because it is all those things. But for whatever reason, it hit my fun threshold, and I just had a blast with this movie.
Before we toss it over to you, let me just say that the score made me want to feel that way. Every time the score came on, I was like, oh, I feel like a kid watching it.
Also,
and then I was.
If I was 10 years old and I saw that movie,
Oh my
it would
God.
be the greatest film I have ever seen. And I would model my life after that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I
would
did model my
really
life.
try to fall off a building with the staff and wake up in some sort of fantasy world, which is called the Forgotten Kingdom or Forbidden Kingdom. It's interesting. Jeff has sort of taken my stance that I usually have in movies such as this. I'm also a huge Jackie Chan fan. You know, I saw Rumble in the Bronx like 5 times when it first came out in the States. Brought my mom to it, and she became a huge Jackie Chan fan. So, you know, and some of the Jackie Chan stuff that he's done, like I really liked Radshire, but then I sort of kind of all went downhill with the multiples of them. But I just have to say, I'm a lot like Jeff. Like I could not help myself in liking this movie. I mean, it was super cute. It was so funny. Jackie Chan is like, you can't not smile when he's on camera. Like he's just, and the way he conveys lines. Well, okay, I couldn't stop smiling when he was on camera. Like it was amazing. And I had the same feeling when he and Jet Li finally met. It was to me that scene in Heat that I didn't actually get from Heat.
Right.
And I actually disagree about the fight choreography. I thought that fight between the two of them was amazing. I thought the comedy in the moment where they're trying to train the one kid.
It's great.
And Jackie Chan and Jet Li kind of argue about having 2 trainers and how to fight, and he's actually just getting beat up in between them actually fighting.
Now, is the kid somebody?
Yeah,
because
he's from Sky High.
the weakest
He's
part
from
of the
Sky
film.
High.
The kid is actually very good. I find him very good in everything else. He's from Sky High. He's in Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah.
With the kid who just gets his. He's injured in the movie, and
but he's not a martial arts
He was just in
guy.
Snow Angels too, which was very disturbing and effed up, but he was phenomenal in it.
I think the only thing that I would say that I couldn't quite tell about this movie is I think it took a couple tonal turns that were very dark, and I was sort of taken aback. Like, you know, there's a couple scenes where people get hurt and or killed very sort of violently, and it's like, wow, boo, that happened. I was actually just talking to a friend of mine who was gonna go see this movie and is a martial arts connoisseur as well, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like a kiddie kind of thing, but it's really fun. And he goes, oh, can I take my 8-year-old to it? And I was like, yeah. I mean,
better take the 8-year-old.
yeah,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
his
great.
favorite movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So I actually did enjoy it a lot. I can definitely see where you're coming from. You know, the Monkey King thing at the beginning, I was a little too tongue-in-cheek for
Actually,
me.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna just throw all my keen eye for this where I feel like I've seen it all so many times.
Yeah.
But to me, let me just further clarify and say one more thing. But the fight between Jackie Chan and Jet Li, I mean, half the time it wasn't even Jackie Chan, and it was.
But that's not fair.
Well,
I mean, the guy's what, 60?
Well, I would rather him not do fight scenes than what makes him. I mean, it's like, I don't know what it's like, but it's like Michael Jordan not playing basketball, it's like Michael Jordan playing baseball.
Well, but Michael Jordan's not an actor portraying a baseball player.
Yeah, but I think that what I was establishing was what I like is the Buster Keaton, and I didn't feel that charm that you guys felt from him. But the other half of what I like about him is the way, because what I'm saying is when you build the Jet Li Jackie Chan movie, and why I wish this happened 10 years ago, is because you want to see the Jet Li in his prime, the Jackie Chan in his prime movie. And this is Jackie Chan with wires and stuntmen. And the reason why I loved Jackie Chan does his own stunts and the way he fights.
But dude, you know what it proved to me? You know what it proved to me?
He's a good
that
actor.
He is a great, charming actor.
I agree with
and
that.
And so just lovable, and his performance transcends his just pure physicality of those things. He became a star because of those things, but he remains a star for me because he jumps off the screen. Every time he's on screen, it's just, this great character.
Yeah.
Now, in news, just because it's so similar to this, the Weinsteins put out this movie, are also putting out, written by the same writer
As this movie.
a remake of The Seven Samurai.
Well, it's like you know,
Which was
Psycho.
Magnificent Seven.
Right.
It's like, do you remake? Are there movies? Can you just remake anything?
Yeah.
Are there movies?
You can. No, what
I
movie
mean,
can't they? Haven't they? You know
It's
what
like,
I mean?
are they gonna remake The Godfather? Are they gonna remake Citizen Kane?
In
you know?
10 years, yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
Now, have you guys seen Seven Samurai?
I've actually never seen it, but I understand it's.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it. I'm not a big. Fuck, I'm blanking on the guy's name.
Akira Kurosawa?
Akira Kurosawa. I'm not a huge fan.
Okay.
It's a little old. Like, it's one of those things where it's the reason why I say I did not enjoy Citizen Kane. I can see how people get all excited when they are film people that
Right.
it's amazing and oh my god they dug into the ground for a shot first time, amazing. It's a boring film to me. So the same thing with Kurosawa stuff. It's like I
glad you
see
said
why
that.
it's like amazing, but to me I need my.
Well, here's the thing. Rent Seven Samurai. If you haven't seen it, rent Seven Samurai. Rent Seven Samurai. The deal with Seven Samurai is it is a what's the one that we watched together? It's a Wonderful Life.
It's
Oh, okay.
It is this. It is
Works.
genuinely funny. Genuinely awesome. The story is phenomenal. It is.
So should they remake it?
No.
All right, I agree. Twittering.
This is awesome.
So we're here at the Renaissance Fair in.
Pleasure fair, sir.
I know.
Pleasure fair.
Well, first off, we were surprised that it's not a lot of porn, considering it's called the Renaissance Pleasure Fair.
This is in
Super
Irwindale,
excited.
California.
Irwindale, California. We're gonna take a gander around.
There's a lot of saucy wenches at
We've been
booths.
going
Lots of-
to
lots of
Ren
babes.
fairs since we were kids, so we're super excited.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go check it out. So stick around.
Ooh, Pirates Cove.
Pirates in me pirate ship! Give me an R!
Arr!
What land for a blender?
The land of Radshire.
That's true.
How rad is Radshire?
Very, very red.
Let me give you your earnings all the way from the dear Earl of Plastique.
Ooh.
Well done, sir. Uncle
That's awesome.
I think Chester Copperpot found this when he was looking for One-Eyed Willie.
Do it, Dan.
The
What's your
arrow
finger?
back.
What's your finger?
It's all right.
Danny?
That's
There you
good.
go.
Oh! Good one, Dan.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Oh!
I'm hunting a wild wildebeest. And by wildebeest, I mean a hay target.
Oh.
Do better. Do better, Jeff. Oh.
I want to pwn this guy's face.
Oh! Epic!
All right, guys, make me
here we go.
proud. Don't make me
One,
embarrassed.
2,
Daddy needs a
3.
new pair of shoes.
Oh,
You
that
are
was
both
terrible.
terrible. Yes, Daniel! Yes!
1.
You killed that
2,
guy's neck.
3. Oh, again.
Yes!
That's what I'm saying.
Both of you have hit the target.
Have we killed the ground enough?
Oh! His eyeball!
So we're still here at the Renaissance Fair, having a blast.
Good times.
Do some archery, some stuff, and it's lunchtime. And what are you gonna do at lunchtime? Turkey leg,
Giant turkey.
Boar meat.
boar meat. And I'm double fisting here for Zan, camera guy, so I can give him trade off afterwards.
Dude, I'm having so much fun.
Dude, we're having a blast. The one
Throwing
thing is,
knives,
If it
shooting
wasn't
arrows.
1,000 degrees
it
out.
is
Yeah.
balls hot, and
Yes.
it's very hard to find places to get drinks. So we're taking a break. We're gonna have some turkey, get some drinks, and then we're gonna come back and do some more. So cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Turkey cheers.
So we're done with the Ren Fair. We have been sated by mead and turkey leg.
It's been huge. There's so much to do.
This is the
definitely
biggest one
Yeah,
I've
I
ever
was
been
just
to.
about
I've
to
never been to
say.
either. Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, one of my favorite games to play was Ultima on the computer.
Yes.
And this Ren Fair, more than any other, feels like I'm in Scarab Bray or Britannia or any of the towns in Ultima.
That's
Because they
awesome.
build it like you're walking through
The Ren Fair.
Well, not just the Ren Fair that I went to before. It was a big, just open thing.
Yeah.
And this is more like a city.
It is. It's a lot more like windy and all that stuff. But we've had, I mean, it's so much fun. If you have a Ren Fair in your area, you should definitely go and check it out at least once.
It's super
such
cool.
an experience.
People diss it, but it's rad, man. It's super
Dude,
rad.
when we come back next year,
We're
we
dressing
gotta
up.
dress up.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Let's
Ren
bust it
Fair,
out.
FTW. See you in studio.
So thanks to our
Anonymous benefactor. Hey!
We are all luckily in possession of PSPs. So this week we're gonna do a PSP blowout.
Because we hadn't really played the
What
PSP. We just got 'em.
crazy!
Yeah, other than a few times at E3 and other trade shows,
Yeah.
this is really the first time I've actually had serious hands-on time with a PSP. So before we get into the games,
Yes.
let's talk about the system. What do you think of it, Dan? Just purely in comparison maybe to your DS, which you've had a lot of experience with.
I actually did have a PSP for about a month. I had Costco.
Oh.
It. So I did the whole, when going on a
Alright.
trip, PSP.
And you returned
came
it?
back, returned.
Wow, so what made you return
Well,
it?
because I didn't
back
have the
then?
money to own it. I literally, it was
stole it.
renting it. No, Costco at the time. They had-
Borrowing without asking? Achoo.
I don't know that
There's six
reference.
people that got that.
All right, here we
reference.
go.
One of them's Steve.
Okay. What I think of the system, it's really the thing about it, if I didn't have an iPhone, it would blow my mind. But even with the iPhone, because when you're looking at video, like I loved watching the intro in one of the games I was playing, like seeing the cinematic. I was just like, this is so cool. I'm holding this in my hand.
Right.
Could you imagine? We were talking about 10-year-olds, us watching that movie.
Yeah.
10-year-old
No.
looking at this.
Yeah.
Future.
Yeah.
I know. I thought about
Future.
that a couple
Yeah.
times.
You hold the
when I was
future
playing.
in your
So,
hands.
yeah.
And linking it with the PS3.
So you
so
explored
slick.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so slick.
You explored that stuff, and I said this last night to these guys at the movie. I was like, dude, all the stuff that you can do with the PS3, I was like, that shit's amazing. And I was like, I don't know when I would. I literally racked my brain to think of one scenario where I would actually
Yes,
use that functionality. However, mind blowing. I'm gonna say I actually had the PSP to fly up to San Fran and fly back, which is actually I think I'm actually very fortunate that I travel so regularly because I get to experience that's how I was first fell in love with the Zune. That's where you know what I mean. That's where I first fell in love with Elite Beat Agents. I have that time because I feel with portable devices, and I don't mean to go off on too much of a rant.
I
I
agree
feel
with
with
you.
portable devices, it's really difficult for me in my apartment with a PS3, with an Xbox 360, with a Wii, with a computer,
Love this.
with television, to go, all of this stuff I'm gonna put aside to pick up this small device and play it.
So
So
true.
I actually find myself very fortunate that I have this travel time. I know, I'm hitting his heartstrings, plucking his
It's
heartstrings.
like that's a revelation.
But that said,
No, but it's
kind of obvious in my
insane.
well, I know, but people, I mean, you don't, but anyway.
one says it,
Right,
Jeff.
and I'm saying it. Do your homework. I don't know. But that said, this device blew me away. I had so much fun. It's everything, excuse me, it's everything that I wanted, that frustrates me about the DS. You know, graphically, I'm like, with the DS, I'm like, God, just a little bit better graphics, I'd be more excited.
Yeah.
Audioly, that's not even a word, but as far as the
Autorally.
audio, autorally, I don't know, what are you doing?
Orally.
Orally.
Yes.
Orally?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway.
Well, that sounds
it
like
orally,
something else, but-
Yeah, whatever. So, orally, very pleasurable. Because you told me the word. But
So you
because
gotta have a PSP icon like.
We went.
But anyway, because it was like with the voiceover, because I mean, without getting too into my review of God of War, my game that I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna
Go ahead. Jump in.
Okay.
Segue.
So we all played games. My game that I played was God of War, Chaos of Olympus, Chains of Olympus. I knew it was something C with Olympus, and I fucking loved it. It blew my mind. I had so much fun. I had more fun playing that on the PSP than I did on the consoles. That game is meant for a handheld. Like,
why do you say that?
Because it just felt like, so like the Ninja Gaiden one, I just felt like I was just doing it. This is what I was doing. It was fun, but it was like, this is what I'm doing. With that, with the Gears of War, God of War, I actually felt like I was getting into the combos and like figuring out the different combos for the different enemies and like what I could do.
Specifically a handheldy.
I got bored out of my mind doing that on a console. Because again, I was like, I just want to watch TV, or I want to have a more in-depth, challenging story arc, or a
God of War story is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, but it's just a story. It's just hey, this is what's happening next, cutscene. But in a handheld device, and maybe it's because it was so graphically amazing and orally pleasurable. You know what I mean? Because hearing the voiceover and hearing the band, like looking at it looked amazing. I had a blast. Boobies.
Well, that's a staple for all those games.
Which is amazing. Plus, I actually say, I think it looked just as good as the PS3 version I played, or the PS2 version I played.
No,
very much so.
To leap right off of that.
Patapon.
Well, no. With God of War, I remember playing the second God of War on the PS2 when we had 360s and PSP, and then God of War 2 came out.
Yeah.
And I love the God of War games, and I loved playing it, but it was tough to play a PlayStation 2 game when I was looking at my gorgeous 360 games. It was just tough to use my console for that.
Yeah.
It is identical. The experience on the PSP is so identical to playing it on the console, and I felt, and like you,
that was what you were saying was a bad thing about the PSP before, right?
Well, but yeah, I mean, yes, it was, and I think there are still console games. I'm never gonna play a first-person shooter on it. There were still moments that I was like, ooh, and maybe it's because this version of it was designed for the PSP. It wasn't.
I don't know. It felt
mapping
exactly.
Oh,
like
no, but I know. But
I think there's something about the scale. A lot of the fun of God of War is the scale of everything. Everything is just larger than life. And when the first God of War came out, it was like, oh my God, I'm playing what the end of most games are right at the beginning. This is like the giant creature that is usually the end game is the first thing I fight, right? That scale taken down to this scale is somehow even more impressive.
Totally.
Dude, I'll tell you
100%.
right now, I literally had a moment where I literally laughed out loud to myself playing this game. Because you guys played to the first boss?
Yeah.
Or the first, where he, sticks it?
That one eats that.
Literally, guy comes through the door and I go, whoa, that's not a good thing. He reels back to kill me, and then this giant thing eats him, and then and I was
That
like,
was a great moment.
And I go,
It's funny.
well, that's really not a good thing.
It's funny. The designers specifically mentioned that's the reaction that we want.
They got it.
Is like,
And I was
this is
playing.
just the PSP version. We'll just have to fight this guy, and they're like, screw you, no.
Yeah, no, amazing.
That is the kind
anyway.
of moments that make, just speaking of the game itself, those kinds of moments are what make the God of War games amazing. Like
absolutely.
those huge moments.
But let me be the voice of contrary, the contrarian voice, if you will. As much as I really, really liked it, and it is very, very impressive.
You mean God of War?
Yes, on the PSP. Any game that doesn't let me remap the nub to the buttons, my hand cramps. And that's a PSP criticism, is even the slim redesign, they haven't fixed the nubbin thing.
That's funny.
I can't use it.
That wasn't the thing that I had an issue with. Mine was I had to hold my pinky like this to keep it up so that I could actually use the bumper.
Yeah,
and
using the two bumpers and the
this.
It's just like
No. For some reason, this whole side of my hand was fine. I did an hour and a half up. I did an hour and a half back, and it was.
All right, Dan, your game was Patapon. Which is another recent
And before you
release.
get into it, I want to say these guys had the ability to play all the games that we reviewed, and I did not. So I feel like I'm a little at a disadvantage, as that you guys got to share how you felt about God of War, and I don't have anything to share, so I'm feeling a little bad. So, but go ahead. How's Patapon?
Yeah. Patapon, well, of the games I played, I liked it the least. Rhythm-based game, I kind of want you to talk about, because I really
Well, I'll
didn't-
explain what it is.
Explain it.
It's a very interesting game. Cool art style. It's this 2D, very
Agreed.
interesting, kind of animated-looking art style.
Our
Basically,
background.
well, that's obvious. Yeah, duh.
Right.
People saw it at the beginning of the show.
Right.
So you're basically an omniscient, godlike guy who controls an army, and the way you control them is by controlling the beat and changing up the beat to tell them different commands. So, you know, Patapon is march forward, Pawn, Patapon is attack, and so on. So you're hitting different buttons to do the different sounds, and that communicates to you guys, and you have to stay in the rhythm, and it's a call and response. So you send out a command and they respond, and you have to stay on that rhythm, and if you can continue to stay on that rhythm, you'll generate bonuses. And there's a lot of other interesting things that happen. You can collect items.
RPG-ish elements that I never really clicked in for me, and I love, when I first started playing this, I was like, I'm gonna play this for the rest of my life. I love this game. And then I just really felt the monotony of dun 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. And I felt like I had no control. I felt like I feel like maybe it was my fault because people are loving this game. I didn't figure out the gameplay. I didn't figure out the smart way. I just felt like I could only do this. So everyone who's playing this game is doing this. There's nothing that I can figure out to play the game better. There's no game playing. It's just literally dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 and then when you get close enough, you know?
Yeah, I think as it progresses and you get more commands and you get more options in kind of outfitting your army before you go into battle, I think that's where the complexity comes in.
Right.
You know, but it's a really interesting game, and it's interesting that it's the kind of game you'd probably see on the DS more like, where you'd be tapping things.
Agreed.
But I think it works on the PSP.
And speaking of that, another game I played, LocoRoco.
I didn't play that.
Okay, LocoRoco.
Yet.
LocoRoco is awesome. This is the game
That was
I
a
played.
game I was maybe gonna play instead of God of War.
I'm glad you did
because
God of War.
I'm glad I played God of War.
But LocoRoco is very similar to Kirby's Canvas Curse on the DS. And it is, like you were saying about the stylus for the DS, the innovation, this is the PSP's version of that, where it innovatively uses the bumpers. Because it's basically as if, pretending we have a piece of paper here, and you have a thing on the piece of paper, like a ball.
Yeah.
You rotate the paper like that to make it fall down this way, you rotate it like that to make it fall down that way, and both at the same time make it hop. And that, sorry, I'm like, so excited.
Salivating.
I'm salivating.
Amazing, yeah.
That is
preparing
how
for
you
oral
get
pleasure.
through the platformer.
Mucus Loco.
Just rotating, jumping, and you get bigger as you collect things, and you can make yourself smaller. It's
So it's almost like Katamari Damacy, almost like.
a little bit, but anyway.
All right, we're running out of time, and we got so
Spatially.
much more to talk about. My game was Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, and I don't even know where to start. It's phenomenal game.
I'm gonna need to travel more.
Yeah, you already travel more. Worth buying a PSP for, as far as I'm concerned, and I didn't have to buy the PSP. It's
Well, maybe that's why.
so great. The combat system is really interesting. It's a Japanese RPG kind of prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which is an older game. Probably a lot of people haven't even played, but it's much more action-oriented. The combat is semi-real time, so you're pushing buttons and doing attacks without a pause for turns to come up. And also, there's whatchamacallit? What's that thing called?
Oh, a slot
machine.
Slot
Slot machine thing going on in the corner that you don't have any control over. So you don't have any control over your summons and your big attacks. They call them limit breaks, I think, in this game. And
Or level ups.
yeah, and you don't have any control over when you level up.
Right.
Sometimes you'll go a long time without leveling up, and then level up like 3 times in a row.
Right.
Wow.
Story is really great. Presentation's incredible. It lets you not use the nubbin. It lets you use the directional pad.
You can use the nubbin though, right? Because
Yeah, I
You
use
can
I
use
use
the
the
nubbin.
nubbin. Okay, I get the nubbin.
I could go on and on. It's fantastic.
Can I say real quickly, but that fighting mechanic in this game is brilliant. Every RPG should be this fighting mechanic.
I don't know about that. I didn't love it that much. It's a little simplistic,
to
and you
try
have
that.
not control over a lot of things that I want control over.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And there's a lot of.
But what? Can I just say?
Yeah, all right, I got it.
We have so much.
Yeah.
I'll talk after.
One more thing, because it's huge news,
exciting.
and it happened today as we're taping this. And
Oh,
I just
how
wanna-
did you know? Did you get Twitter? You're like, what happened?
Okay, big announcement. New Mortal Kombat game.
Okay.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe.
What? Oh, that's like my ass versus my
No,
nose.
it's like Marvel versus Capcom is what it's like.
Yeah, but who chose those two pairings? I mean, that's
Two
just
very
like,
powerful companies.
I know, but
right,
I just
I
like
was
that's
gonna say.
so random. That's like
Who just bought a claim?
Fast and the Furious cast versus
But that's what's cool.
Poseidon Adventure.
Poseidon.
Go.
But that's what's cool.
Better,
I mean,
better.
that's one of my favorite fighting games ever was Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I love that jumble of throw all those characters in a pot,
Royal
stir it
Rumble.
all up. Yeah, I mean, I've sort of lost the love for Mortal Kombat in the large sense. I don't know if you guys have either. I think it's lost a little of its luster.
I've lost the love for fighting games.
Yes.
Well, but there's a serious resurgence happening. Street Fighter 4 is coming out, and you know, I mean, there's. I think they're going to be kind of coming back in their own, and this game looks awesome. There's going to be 2 prongs of story. You can start from the Mortal Kombat side story where it's as if the DC is invading their universe, or you can start from the DC side where.
Well, but is it going to be one of those things where it's like
Text comes up on the screen?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's like next, you know, it's all 360 and PS3.
Whoa!
For a fighting game to excite me, I just need a change in gameplay. I need.
What about being able to play as Batman or Superman?
This doesn't matter. It's Ryu. By the way, Virtua Fighter 2 reference in Forbidden Kingdom, like that kid's 16, so he was how old when Virtua Fighter 2 was around?
I know.
But it's everyone is there's the big guy who's slow but strong.
Yeah.
There's the little people. I mean, they are all the same with different avatars. They fight the same way. You press this. I don't care that it looks differently. My actual fun factor, it doesn't change from Darkstalkers to Marvel vs. Capcom to Samurai Showdown. It's the same. I'm referencing all old games. but
I think, I mean, yeah.
Brawl actually changes it up with such interactive levels.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm hearing about that stuff would get me excited for a new fighting game. The change in the way it's played and how you interact with the game. But changing who you control, it doesn't matter to me.
You know, I just realized
Did I crush you?
if you added in the
But I know I'm in the
God of
minority.
War mechanic where you're both playing and all of a sudden a triangle pops over your head, and if the person can get the thing before and it's
Like Simon?
Oh man, I hate that. If there's
Really?
one thing I hate
I
about
love
God of
that.
War, I want that
like
Simon Says thing
I like
out
it
of
because
the
it
game.
scares me and I don't have any control. It's like-
Yeah, I think those need to go.
So before we get to our email, we do want to thank our sponsors. GameV.com is your place to head over and communicate with your friends via clips about gameplay footage.
Yeah.
And I mean of gameplay footage. We haven't done it yet, but I want to set up a clan account for the Totally Rad Guild. So as we, the Totally Rad Guild, go out and do stuff in World of Warcraft, we can be posting our stuff.
Super fun.
Super fun. Communicate with your friends. I actually have a profile over there. GameV.com/user/Alex Albrecht.
I have one too, sir.
Oh, you do, sir?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Two, sir. How about you, sir?
Nice.
So
You sent me I haven't logged in yet, but you sent me all the information, so it exists.
yeah, I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
It was something. Danny
Probably,
TRS or something.
right,
I don't know.
yeah.
We'll figure all that stuff out. But head over to GameV.com, sign up for an account, share your stuff, check out our stuff. It's gonna be awesome.
Also, GoDaddy.com, if you're interested in getting a website, making a website, and you want a domain, you can get domains as low as $1.99. You can get easy startup software, hosting ideas.
Yeah, I
would
love
say
it.
that.
Hosting ideas, I know.
Hosting ideas?
Yeah,
Shrimp cocktail, shrimp cocktail. People like shrimp cocktail.
There's some things in life where you just say them and you don't even
Yeah.
know.
I try to avoid those things. So anyway, so use our promo code. You get an additional 10% off your order when you go to checkout, and it's TRS1, and tell them Jeff sent you.
That brings us to Netflix. Netflix is, of course, online renting. They have 75,000 titles, some HD DVDs, but not quite so many, and Blu-rays. I recommend you guys rent. I'm gonna do this.
This should be Netflix should sponsor your suggestion. Danny's one-time DVD suggestions.
Well, this is not. So recommend a couple here. Given the subject matter of our movie review, if you like Jackie Chan, my favorite of his movies are Dragons Forever, which was renamed something, so I don't know what that is.
Dragon sometimes.
But Dragons Forever, Operation Condor, Armor of God 2 was another one of my favorites.
Drunken Master, dude.
Drunken Master was epic.
You mean the sequel?
Yes, Drunken Master 2, the one with Jackie Chan in it.
Yeah, he's in the first one, but I have a feling okay.
The one that came out in the States.
Jet Li's, my favorite wire fu of his movies is a Tai Chi Master, which is directed by Yuen Woo-ping, which I think was renamed Twin Dragons, but don't quote me on that.
Too late,
do you know?
quoted.
Quoted.
Okay. And also,
talking about Netflix.
one more thing with Netflix, two more things actually. Also, Once Upon a Time in China Part 2. That is my favorite director and favorite also Jet Li movie, but okay.
But in order to get those, you should sign up.
And Seven Samurai. Do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. You owe it to
Sign up
yourself.
for Netflix.
Signing up for Netflix. There's 40 shipping centers, so you get all these movies I just mentioned like the next
URL
day.
for that is.
The next day, but plans start at $4.99. I gotta tell them what they start at, Jeff.
That's true, you're right.
It's $4.99 what they start at.
That's amazing.
End up. But to get this plan, you go to www, and you gotta put those W's in. www.netflix.com/TRS.
Correctamundo, thank you, well put, and very
People
effusive.
ask us why
Succinct.
you need to put those wwws in, and
It's because
Because if you
Netflix
don't,
can't
you don't get
figure
the
out how to do
credit for
it.
it.
oh really?
Yeah,
What were you gonna
if
say?
they don't
I
put
was
it,
gonna say it's because that's what they tell us to say.
no, because if
It
they
is.
don't put the WWs in, they still go to Netflix and everything looks the same.
Right.
But for some reason we don't. It doesn't accredit us
Yeah.
the thing.
All right,
The
so let's
win.
get to our email, shall we? This email is a tad long, but you'll see how it's cool.
What a winner.
Greetings, sirs. First of all, I'd like to thank you for helping me get through one of the most harrowing moments in my life. I recently flew into Boston's Logan International Airport, which is one of the most dangerous international airports to fly into, or scariest. It's not really dangerous, but
Foreshadowing.
scariest. I know.
There's, like, guys
on a
with
twin
switchblades.
prop, 9-seat Cessna. Yeah.
Jets.
That's awesome. Yes.
Unforbidden Kingdom.
It's at an airport.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I flew into Logan International on a twin prop, 9-seat, very good, Cessna, yes, on purpose. Although it was a clear day, it became apparent miles out that this was not going to be a smooth landing. After literally looking over the pilot's shoulder long enough to notice that we were approaching the runway with the plane askewed at a 25-degree angle.
Oy.
Yes, and fighting the urge to vomit down his neck due to the seemingly endless series of stomach lurching drops, I was able to keep my mind off what I was sure was my impending death by your 52nd episode extravaganza. Just as I was sure we were going to end up as fish food in Boston Harbor, Dan's comments about the blacks and Jeff's reaction to it actually managed to make me laugh out loud. So thank you very much for allowing me to laugh in the face of death.
You're welcome, sir.
And I think that should be the new TRS slogan.
Laughing at
It'll
the
make
face
you
of-
laugh in the face of death.
I like that a lot.
Totally rad show.
Yeah, quoted by Mark Dalton. Now, after that long-winded segue, what was your most frightening travel moment? Thanks again, Mark Dalton. Jeffrey?
Well,
Oh, Jesus.
this isn't
Buckle up.
this isn't travel moment from this way. It's kind of travel moment this way. I went skydiving.
Oh!
I don't think I've ever told you guys this
I don't
story.
think so.
You haven't told us the story, but you've told us you went skydiving once.
Okay, this is a good story.
All right.
I'll try to tell it quickly.
scared for you.
So it's a tandem.
You made it, see?
I was in college. I was with a couple buddies, and we were like, God, I've always wanted to go skydiving. Me too. Let's just go. Okay, let's just go and not tell anybody. Awesome, perfect. We drive to, I don't know, some place. I can't even remember where it is, Temecula or some weird place.
Nice.
And no offense to people who live in
I
Temecula.
was just about to say.
So we sign up to do the tandem, and they make you sign all like, no matter how I die, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, go up in the plane. Incredible, beautiful, amazing view, 10,000 feet. Strapped to the dude, you jump out, you have to do the arch. I don't know if anybody's gone skydiving. You have to do the arch when you get out of the plane.
Seen it on
right?
TV.
You do the arch, and then you get to pull the ripcord. So I did the arch. Oh, it's so awesome, it's so amazing. Oh, wind, pull the thing. Well, I don't know if you guys know much about parachutes, but when they come out, they're supposed to go like this.
Yeah.
And then you gently.
I know that much about parachutes.
So mine went like this. Right? I mean, I'm oblivious to this. I have no.
You're like, woo,
I'm like,
pull the
yeah,
ripcord, parachuting.
I hear in my ear, I'm gonna need you to do another arch. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. All right, cool. I don't know this. I've never done this before. I don't know what's par for the course.
Yeah, he was
right?
just doing the second arch.
He reaches over on his shoulder and pulls another cord, and my chute goes off. Right?
I'm so scared.
Right? I'm like,
So
back in the arch,
scared.
like, yeah, this is so awesome. And he's like, okay, hang on 1 second, and he pulls the emergency chute, right? Well, needless to say, I'm standing here, so the
That
emergency
one-
chute opened fine, and I got to the bottom, and everything was great. And
Do you
I get to the
know
bottom,
when he pulled the emergency chute?
I exhilarated, amazing, get to the ground. Oh, that was amazing. Oh man, oh yeah. And they have this van that comes and picks you up, and then it has to, everybody gets in the van and you have to drive back to the place, right? So my friends have already landed because they got down to the bottom faster than me. They jumped out earlier, and we're on the way back. We're all sitting with the guys, and they're like, "Oh man, yeah, you gotta buy him a beer." And I'm like, oh, why is that? Well, it's customary to to buy the guy who packed your emergency chute the beer if you have to use it, because he saved your life. And then I was like, and like everything, realization, like moment, realizing what happened, thing, second arch, all passing, like it's all like adding, like at the end of Usual Suspects, I'm like, oh no! I almost freaking died. Yeah.
He's from Japan.
That was it was not a travel moment this way, it's kind of a travel moment that way.
Yeah, but
almost died.
Yeah. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Amazing skis.
Yeah.
Dan, your parachuting experience?
I actually, in my travel experience, almost died as well. I guess that's what the question was asking. But traveling this way across the country from
Towards
Philly to LA, my best friend Amy, driving in the car, she had to go pee in the middle of the desert. Tiny little road in the middle of the desert. Hear the crickets?
That kind of road.
That's what we heard.
Wow.
Pull over to the sides. There's like a dip on the side, like the road is like up a little bit, and then it goes down a hill.
Yeah.
The thing. So I kind of half pulled over. She goes out, pops a squat, does her business.
Yep.
I'm taking a picture. I was like trying to take a picture of it.
She's got her pants down. I've got the camera. Normal scene.
I was like infatuated with like football fields or basketball courts in the desert.
Right.
So and there was one right here. So like this is perfect. Pulling over here. She's going to do her business. I'm doing this. All of a sudden.
It's the longest segment ever. By
Okay,
the
wait.
way.
I know. I'm
sorry.
in the
My
car.
fault.
It's all right.
I'm taking the picture,
Mine's quick.
and then I hear and
Are you trying to make up the story or remember it?
I hear this, Dan, and I look at her, and I look in my rearview mirror. Cut to her, popped in squat,
Right.
silence, nothing but the trickle of
Yeah,
right.
we know what you're talking
Silence,
about.
And then
She had 16 snakes attacked her.
and then look in my rearview mirror. A truck transporting a house.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about? Where they transport
Yeah,
the entire house?
yeah.
That fills up the entire thing in my rearview mirror. Coming at me is another 18-wheeler truck. There's not enough room on the road for just the one wide thing. It was one quick motion of camera goes down, hand on wheel, hand on the thing, zzz. But my mind says, don't go over the ditch and roll in my Jeep. I didn't want to roll over.
No.
So I only pulled up like a little, I went zip, like a little tiny bit, and I just went, and it was like, it was like unbelievable. She comes back in the car, starts like, it was, I
Wiping
just put
pee all over.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Did you wash?
Oh my God, are you okay?
It was
I need a place to put my pee.
insane. And then we saw up the road, we drove by, and that house was like pulled over and like smoking.
The house
and
was
shit.
pulled over.
It was
It's
crazy.
like a big house in the front door. It's got a big cigarette.
That house almost jumped out and hit me.
Wow.
So that was almost like Wicked Witch of the West styles.
Wow.
That is
Dan,
amazing.
You shouldn't have worn your striped socks.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Mine is probably much quicker.
I hope.
That's good.
I haven't had a lot of those experiences like that. Most of them happened on my motorcycle back
Oh,
when I had a
wow, yeah.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
And the two that I can remember.
Two?
Well, the first one is
Didn't learn from
the
the
one.
first.
Yeah, I mean, I did dump my bike at one point, but it was sort of stupid and not that big a deal. But the other one was, you know how like when you're in a car and you see that the light turns yellow. And you're like, oh, I can make that. And so you go through,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Most of us do that. I actually just got a ticket for doing that when it went red and I did that. But okay, so that everybody knows that experience. Now, have you had the exact same experience, except what you do is you're looking at the light and you go, oh yeah, we can make it, buddy. And the guy in front of you goes,
Oh, yeah.
I can't make that light.
I'm stopping.
And it's that 1 second of like, fast, oh, slow, real slow, real slow.
Yeah.
Whoa, you could have made that, asshole, right?
Yeah.
Except that when you're on a motorcycle.
When you're on a motorcycle and you're at Beverly Glen on Sunset and you're
wow.
in the middle of a turn this way through the light,
Oui.
I was on my bike, I don't know where I was going, and you're just zoning in and out, like keeping everything in aware, and I was like turning, and it's like you turn and you're downhill, and then there's the light. And so I was turning and I saw the light and I was like, oh yeah, we can make that. Started revving my engine, guy stops in front of me, and I'm like, well, that was fun. You know what I mean? All systems grab, because that's what you do in an emergency on a motorcycle. You grab and push.
Yeah.
2 hands, 2 feet. My wheels lock up. I mean, this should have been in like Mission Impossible 3. I slide sideways around the car into the turn lane on only wheels that are locked. I mean, this is all sliding. I was very fortunate nobody was behind me. I was very fortunate nobody was in the turn lane. I skidded around the guy and stopped in front of his car perfectly at the red light.
So what you're saying is your story isn't any shorter.
It's not shorter. and don't use a motorcycle. Although I still love motorcycles. Anyway, well, thank you, Mark. I'm glad you're alive. We're glad we're alive.
Everybody, glad.
I'm glad everybody's
I don't think
alive.
Steve's glad we're alive because we're running long.
The little kitty cat we heard
Oh,
about.
we got an email about somebody's cat who
We used
passed
to watch the
away.
show with them. We're sorry.
We're so sorry. That's never fun. But thank you, Matt. Or Mark, if you want to send in an email, please feel free to do so. fans@totallyradshow.com.
Also send us backgrounds at fans@totallyradshow.com, just like our friend Avenwell,
That's
who
right.
picks all the bottom.
He gives all the bottom. And before we get into our total train of things that we'd like to tell you about, 2 new things. One, we're nominated for a Webby.
Yeah,
Dude,
well,
Fisties.
We already announced that.
We announced that last week, but that's cool.
We're still nominated, and you can still help by voting for the Webby. You can go to totallyradshow.com, click on the link. It'll take you directly to where you need to vote.
Cool.
Which is awesome. 2, the PSP thing's got us thinking, right? PSP thing's got us thinking.
Right. Tell 'em.
We have advertisers. We love our advertisers. The advertisers allow us to produce this show. But we're not getting rich off this thing. We don't have very much money to do other fun things we want to do for the show. An example, the PSPs. We couldn't buy the PSPs for ourselves based on
Well,
the
we wanted to
production
go
money.
to New York Comic Con.
We wanted to go to New York Comic Con. We couldn't go because we all.
We want to go to PAX this year.
We want to go to PAX. So we decided, hey, maybe there are people out there who really enjoy the show, and they're really, have a hooded sweatshirt, so they can't, really help monetarily by getting some more, but they want to, help out a little bit. So we decided we would put a donation button on our site.
Yep.
Sort of a way for you, like if you're...
No pressure?
No.
Still a free show.
It will always be a free show, my
But if
friends.
you have a little bit you want to, if a lot of people give us a little bit, it'll allow us to do a lot more.
And we have a lot of different things. Like we do. Why does that happen in this place? Like we do want to go to the Webby Awards, but as it stands now, we're not going to be able to go because
They're in New York.
unless a big sponsor wants to send us for a thing out there, we're not going to be able to do that. So this is your opportunity. If you do have a little bit extra cash and you want to help out, head over to totallyradshow.com, click on the Donate Now button or whatever we're going to call it, because we haven't made it. We would love you forever.
Okay.
And give you babies.
Forums are our website, MySpace, Twitter now,
Twitter.
right?
Also, head over to the website to find out the movie we're going to review next week, which...
Do we know what it is?
Speed
That's
Racer's
fine.
coming up
That's fine.
soon,
That's
but
fine.
it's not that
Let's
yet.
wrap this puppy up, man. We
Yeah,
can talk.
dudes. That's it for this week's edition of the Totally Rat Show. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Until next time, keep it real.
Again?
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 53.
7.
Really? Where did that number come from? I don't even know.
I'm gonna do it. Hold on. Are we rolling? We're rolling. We're gonna do it. Okay. We're rolling.
Games and movies too. Sure hope you're not confused. I swear it's all true. Not just the premise too. The Totally Rad Show.
Should hope you're not confused. We swear
I'm
it's
smirking a
all
little bit.
true. Not just the
Gotta
premise too.
not do that.
The Totally Rad.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, it's coming! It's building! Cat, though. There's a cat there. Freely roaming, like a jaguar, like a puma, stalking.